it's here. Here we are.
It says it's live streaming. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful. Let's just bring you up. Okay, so hello everybody. Just doing a little bit of technical things here. So hello everybody and welcome to Flowing with the Spiritual Cafe today at our usual time. Wednesday at 4 p.m. in London, and I know it's 11 a.m. In the Pacific. I'm not sure what times it is in the other time zones in the world, but and wherever you are, welcome. And I'd like to just welcome our guest today, beautiful co-host Arnie, who is Arnie Christie, who is the founder and director of Ignite Your Light Coalition. She's deeply diving into the gene keys, and she is also an energy healer, and is in her previous life was an attorney in New York. I haven't looked at your bio. I haven't got it in front of me, Arnie. So if I've missed anything, just jump in now and say whatever it is. She's a beautiful being and is here to help with this wonderful energy that we are in today of shifting our frequencies into that into that of compassion and love, in preparation for a new vision, a new earth, a new world where the heart leads and love rules and intelligence is from the two of these coming together in a community, in a world community where everybody's needs are felt and taken care of. And so here we are. So welcome everybody again. So let's just take a few moments to settle into ourselves, leave any concerns with the angels, and take this moment to be present. So if we'd like to close our eyes, take a deep breath, maybe put your hands on your heart or gently on your belly, and imagine your feet. Imagine your feet or feel your feet on Mother Earth. And just start to relax and take 3 deep breaths into the belly. And as you breathe in, you can feel Mother Earth's nurturing and nourishing, warm, golden, amber energy rising up from Mother Earth through your feet, through your legs, into your tailbone, and feel this warm energy rising up through your spine, swirling up through your spine with love and compassion, and feel this rising up and out of your crown chakra, out into pure white, pure golden white light. Feel these energies merge and harmonize. Keep watching your breath slowly and gently, without effort. And feel this pure white loving light surround you and into your heart. Feel this love and compassion in your heart for yourself. And as you feel this love and compassion in your heart, just breathe it in for a moment. And let go. Relax. Just relax your head and your shoulders. Relax your hips, your legs. Relax your feet and know that you are held in love and compassion. Just extend this love and compassion out towards all your loved ones, your family and friends. And as you feel this love go out, you feel your heart expanding with light. Feel yourself lightening up. And as you extend this love and passion and compassion out to your family, just feel it go out further, out into your town. As you feel that love go out into the town, see if you can expand it even further and expand this love and compassion out to the edges of the country. Wherever you are, feel this love and compassion in your country. And feel the love and compassion expand out further into the seas and all the animals and all the sea life on the land and in the sea. And as you feel this love and compassion, extend it even further into the world. Feel this love and compassion out into the world and every being and every plant and every bird and every ocean being and every sky animal and all the stars. Feel this love expand out, out, out. And remember to breathe gently and slowly. And as you feel the expansion of this love everywhere in the universe, now feel all of this love from the universe, from the seas, from the skies, from the countries, from the land, from the cities, from your town, your neighborhood, your family and your friends, your loved ones. Feel all this love come back to your heart. Feel your heart bursting now with love and compassion. Just give yourself a hug. Breathe all that love in. Feel the pulse of that love coming to you and going outwards, inwards and outwards. And see how when we give and we receive, how we light up the planet. Just take a moment to breathe in deeply to your belly and out. And when you're ready, maybe just shake your hands, wiggle your fingers, shake your shoulders, have a stretch, open your eyes, come back to the room. I just want to read. First of all, I want to say that I'm in a contemplation this week in the Delta program, and I just wanted to talk about synarchy, and I'm not going to explain too much what that is because people can come to the cafe and we can explain that more then. But basically, it's when everything is in alignment with everything else, everything's in harmony, and the universe organizes relationships and things and opportunities, and they just fall into the place in divine order at the right time. There's no pushing or pulling or forcing, it just happens. And I was thinking about this. My contemplation this week is about the heart, compassion and harmony and transparency. And today's cafe is all about, it's Lisa A. Clayton, our wonderful guest, and her work is heart math. It's all to do with the heart, the higher heart, and inner the inner movement. And today she's going to be talking about transcendence. And so I thought, well, isn't that wonderful how the universe has brought all this together? And of course, Arnie is, she is a heart-led being, and her work is all about, coming from Sanaki, coming from the place of divine order and every of giving from the heart, and so I feel it's really wonderful and beautiful how the universe has orchestrated this conversation today. So I opened the book and I thought I would just read a poem, and it's from the Holy Sacraments, which is from the Angel Ministry, and both myself and Reverend Lisa Clayton are from the Angel Ministry from 10 and 11 years ago. And this poem is by Reverend Kathy Burke, and it's called The Butterfly Awakened. And it's just short. So it's, I feel the transformation. The angels come to me. No need to hold on tight now. This mission's meant to be. For as a flower blossoms, the petals they unfold. A story has been written, a story that's now told. So crystal clear I see it. It's right before my eyes. The energy moves swiftly as old beliefs they die. For this is my transformation. The old, it fades away. The sun shines bright upon me. A new and light-filled day. I hold this transformation as a gift for all who seek to open up to spirit, both the bold and also meek, like the butterfly awakened from its deep and dark cocoon. The transformation follows, a flower in full bloom. So we've got two beautiful flowers here. And now I will introduce my most beautiful friend of 11 years, Reverend Lisa A. Clayton. She's very humble. She always introduces herself as Lisa Clayton. She is an author, master trainer, founder and president of Source Potential, a human evolution company. Lisa offers more than 35 years of experience in professional training, coaching, and consulting. Lisa created a unique learning method for developing individual potential and application of learning concepts, which was used worldwide by clients such as American Express and HSBC in facilitator certifications for leadership programs. Just take a little drink from that. Lisa conducts intuitive guidance sessions and angel team divine transmissions as an ordained angel minister and specializes in connecting individuals with their spiritual domain and resources. From her passion for heart and intuitive learning, Lisa became a Heart Math Act certified master trainer and licensed coach teaching individuals, groups, and corporate management stress reduction techniques for creating compassionate and coherent living environments. With Lisa's lifelong teaching and coaching philosophy of learning from inside out, I love that, she has creatively combined her intuitive abilities with heart-focused living tools and soul wisdom keys to establish the inner leader movement. That's what I was trying to say, the inner leader movement. The inner leader movement offerings help you access your own unique inner leader abilities of power, courage, and confidence, along with your spiritual gifts and divine resources, so you can create successful offerings in the world and have relationships that are meaningful, abundant, and fulfilling. Lisa is a contributing author to several spiritual books, 365 Days of Angel Prayers, 111 Morning Meditations, 52 Weeks of Gratitude Journal, and Heaven Sent. And Lisa's website, which I think I've already posted, but I will post again, is www.lisaaclayton.com. The A is for Anne.
Awesome.
And so I hand the microphone over to you two ladies, Annie and Lisa Ann. Annie.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Akusi. That was very, I was like, I was listening to it. You know, you don't read your bio every day. And so I was listening to it, I'm like, oh, wow. So yeah, it was nice to hear the flow.
Thank you. I just didn't say that, you know, people do say that. They say, you know, they send me their bio and they haven't heard it. And when I've read it out, they say, oh, that was really good, Lisa. It was really nice listening to that. So I'm glad because I know that, you know, I do read and I do like to read. And I do waffle a little bit as well, but, you know, that's who I am. So I hand the microphone over to you two wonderful ladies.
Yeah. So, did you want to guide through, or do you just want me to just take a deep dive in?
Well, it's your preference, okay? If you have some things that you really want to say and you want to make sure you get a chance to say them, then I'll give you that opening. But I have prepared questions, and I can begin. We can do it either way.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just give a brief overview about what's happening now in this present day of now with this amazing time on Earth as we are here, each one of us as leaders in an evolutionary movement to bring the human aspect of us into a higher level of consciousness and to work with the different dimensions of energy that are available on Earth. So a few years ago, and I've always had corporate clients teaching their employees either through, I have a wide range of toolbox with personality, emotional intelligence, leadership tools. Heart math is just one of the tools also. And in really getting people inspired to bring their potential forth in their jobs that they were doing. And then as I pulled away from, and it's still for me, here was the frustration for me, and was that I didn't feel like I could reach the organization as a whole. So I could reach certain individuals within the organization. And that's what fired me up, is to work with individuals and small collectives to send out a ripple effect of the human evolutionary consciousness that is happening on Earth right now. And so my passion has always been in helping people learn and to learn and grow and to apply that learning to their everyday life. And then when I decided to shut off the corporate accounts and really focus and tune in to bringing my greatest soul gifts to this earth at this time, interesting enough, the angels, and I call them my team divine, ascended masters, ancestors, spirit guides, came in and said, actually, Lisa, what source potential has always been about. You were brought to this earth to be a teacher and a leader, but what it's really about is the unlearning. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, okay, you've developed all of these amazing learning processes for corporations throughout the world to get the potential of their employees to come forward, to contribute to the jobs that they were doing. But now you get to help people unlearn the stories that aren't true about them and to awaken them to a new level of transformation and transcendence. And so that's how the Inner Leader movement was born in 2016. Yeah, so I've been doing this passionately for the last 4 years.
Let me stop you there and ask a question. I thought it was fascinating when I looked at your website, your background, similar in some ways to mine, where you've gone from the corporate arena, which is structured, more linear, rational, and it appears, and I hope you'll tell us more about this today, it appears you have evolved enormously in your own life. Now you're, on some level, you're teaching your own evolution or your own evolutionary process, I'm sure, because you've gone from linear rational to the creative, intuitive. So you have all of the left brain skills to teach, and you're choosing, it sounds like, and I know this is the choice I've made, to really go more deeply, into multidimensional work, into spiritual work, and into not being afraid to claim and express the gifts that you are. So talk about that,
Yeah.
and a little bit about how this has impacted your own life, because this is the juicy part, I think, for the audience, because we need you to inspire them with your story, as
Yes.
well as what you can do.
Yeah. Well, this is such a, it's been such an amazing journey, this life experience. And as I, when I started I got the download in 1999 to start Source Potential, to get people connected to who they are and to bring forth their greatest gifts. And when I went into corporate with this, and I actually was encouraged, I was an independent consultant for another training company, and I was encouraged by all of my magnet, my mega clients, to start my own company and do my own thing, because they're saying there's something about you when it's about the way you connect with people. How do you do that? We can't teach that in our corporate world. And I'm like, well, it's through the heart, it's through love, it's through compassion, it's through the source of who I am. And they're like, and what's the name of your company? Source Potential. Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to do any of that heart stuff and any of that source stuff. Okay, we just want you to develop the potential of our employees. Okay. And I said, well, I can do that, but you have to understand. So even though I was in the linear, analytical, Wall Street environments and corporation, I could still bring forth my source and my unique gifts that I was here on earth to bring. So I kind of wove those in to the linear structure. And that's why I stayed so long, because they were like, I don't know what she does, but people listen, people connect, and it was just all through the heart. And as you know, being in corporate, though, you are in mandated cultural norms. And so that got very toxic to me and was not aligned with my true sense of source. And I played the game, and I wore the mask, and I felt I and and the money was flowing. The money was flowing. And then when the recession happened and it stopped, it was like it stopped me in my tracks and said, really seriously, what am I doing here? How long do I really want to wear the mask? And how long do I want to play the game? Because I knew how to do it very, very well. But it was like, okay, there's something more that needs to come forth. And I kept going back to the linear way. And the learning process that I put together for these corporations worldwide was not linear. It truly was a spiral process of evolution. And that's what people connected to. They loved that because they could see that these spirals that I brought forth, and you, others, and process, that was the learning process, were activating something inside of them. And in fact, one director at American Express, this was in Phoenix, he'd always say to me, oh my gosh, Lisa Clayton's coming. That means we're going to lose people, because she invites them, if they're not happy, to leave and to do something else with their life. And and people did leave after the seminars, until they started to rope me in more and more and more and say, look, you can't say that. You can't do that. Stick to the curriculum. Stick to the way it is. Okay. And I still was able to make that come alive. But then really taking, when things stop, and we're going through another period of that stopping in the pandemic, and with the issues that are coming forth that have been not just and not in alignment with the source of humanity, is coming forward right now. When we get that opportunity to stop, that is the most perfect time to come into your full being of your creator source within. And so that's how this all happened with me in 2008 when it stopped from the big Fortune 500. I went into, okay, well, where do I really want to work? And I ended up in senior living, a senior living industry, to help those caregivers and leaders in senior living give our greatest generation, our most wise generation, the opportunity to exit life with dignity, respect, and to share their wisdom. So it was fascinating because I had not even thought of that as an industry, as a focus, but it gave me the opportunity to realize the injustices that were happening with our elders, and how we were treating them. And then, I mean, my career started as a school teacher, so I had the youth, and then I ended, I had the experience with the seniors, and that inspired me to come forth with the inner leader movement for everyone, to say everyone has the opportunity to get connected to their beautiful soul's wisdom, their heart's intuitive intelligence, and bring forth their 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 light, their love to whatever they're doing. If they're a stay-at-home mother, bring forth your light and love, and bring forth your inner leader, getting that circuitry, moving through you, this energetic circuitry of being connected above, within, and to the heart of Mother Gaia below. And so that's kind of the background of the journey of coming out of the corporate environment, but with such wisdom of 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 witnessing the unhappiness of people taking on jobs and careers to fit into the system and survive through the monetary rewards. So it was what we are shifting into now is from survival to thriving energy. And the ancestors have been coming through, the ancestor downloads from realms of ancestors that have been working in light, are saying, it's time for Earth to come out of that survival into thriving. There's enough on Earth for every single person on this planet to thrive.
Yes, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, and I assume that you would agree that the way to thrive is to go deep inside yourself and be that, discover that, open the channel to that, and live from that place.
Yeah.
That place that most of us were not taught was okay. We had to fit into a model prescribed by society rather than letting it come, as you say, which Akushi also said was beautiful, living from the inside out and creating the support environments to enable you to do that. So not to get you off your flow, but now that I went there, if you're interested, tell us about some of the workshops you're doing now, or Lisa has this. I'm going to make a plug for Lisa on her website, which I did study last night. She offers free 30-minute consultations for people that want to be in her energy and see where she might be able to help them. So is there something you want to share with the audience about how you work with people, either one-on-one or in these workshops, or both, so they can see, how do you do this? How do you bring this out and help people make these connections?
Oh, such a great question, because it really does start with one-to-ones, individually having an intuitive reading. So even before people want to jump into the Inner Leader program, which is a 12 to 15 month program of taking the deep dive into your inner source, the intuitive readings give people the confidence that they can tune in to their that these inner voices and these inner nudges aren't from here. They're real. They're coming from the source self. And so the first aspect that I always offer people when they come to me is the intuitive readings. And most people, once they have one, they want another one. And how the intuitive readings work, it's a process. It's not just you come for a reading, you come and you open up the heart, and it illuminates. We can illuminate from above, from the team that comes in to illuminate these beautiful gifts as you open your heart up. And then Mother Gaia's really, really, really vibrating and sending messages through her magnitude, through her new magnetics of what's happening with her heart. And so once people open up to that, then they're like, I always offer a recording, and then in 7 to 10 days we do a follow-up, and we see what has transpired in that 7 to 10 days, and then usually that leads to another intuitive reading. And then once after about a couple of intuitive readings, then people are like, okay, I'm ready to take the deep dive. And that's when the inner leader coaching, and I don't even like to call it coaching. I've been toying with that word because it really is a collaboration. It is a collaboration of synergy of energies coming through me and coming through the person that I'm working with, that takes them into the deeper aspects of who they are. So the inner leader program then is, I have a fast track program. So there's a fast track program for 6 weeks that you can just, and the collaboration sessions are a combination of all the tools in the toolbox. So it's like what this person is revealing that is needed the most in their life, and then what it is that we can transcend into a higher dimensional frequency. And before transcendence comes this transformation. So the transformation part of it is really the inner leader movement, and then the transcendence comes probably about 6 to 9 months into the program. That's where I'm finding most people really are like, okay, now I can transcend this into beyond time and space, into the creator source energy that I am. But it's beyond humanity and beyond what you're dealing with. So it starts with intuitive readings and really getting this circuitry of what I call the you, knowing you're above resources, tapping into this heart's intuitive intelligence and the soul's wisdom, and then the earth below. So it's AWE, the you comes through in the intuitive sessions, and then moving into the inner leader program, which is the deep dives. And it's all customized. Everything flows. Each person that shows up for the inner leader movement is I don't know what, there isn't a linear way to help people evolve. So
yes, and it sounds fantastic because to me it sounds like what you're doing is you're tuning in. You're helping people tune into themselves,
yeah,
and be that channel connecting the above, the heart, and below with the earth. And then the program evolves around what comes from them, the messages they receive, or what they express they want to either to let go of or to claim, and then the messages that you receive from your divine team, right?
Yeah.
So there is no two are really necessarily alike. You have a toolbox and a kit, and I assume you send people home with homework and journaling and different things like that. But then you're co-creating. Are you co-creating your program together?
Absolutely. And that's and this program and the whole inner leader movement was a co-creation with I had a sacred branding coach that, again, I loved how Akusi described how you came, Annie, like from the heavens, out of the blue. I use out of the blue terminology a lot because that's the universal synchronicities of bringing who we are to work with together
Yes.
to create this high vibration of love, light, and compassion on the earth. And so it's a fascinating process because um, I didn't realize that I had a gift to connect with other people's teams. I've always had the gift of connecting with my team, but when I'm working with a person with an intuitive reading, in an intuitive reading or in the inner leader program, their teams come right in and it's a collaboration. And I always say it's like this big, huge funnel that comes in, and then they focus right with what is needed in that person, what needs to be illuminated to come forth in that person to release, heal, expand, um, ascend, accelerate. It's all different for each single person. So for me, the revelation in working with the higher dimension or energies and the planetary energies, the universal energy, and what's happening with Earth is that, wow, it is, I'm more of a collective intuitive, because people who come to me, I can read their higher self and feel their team coming in and co-creating what is needed for them in the moment of now. So when I started the fast track program, it was just to give 6 weeks of 2 sessions with above, 2 sessions within, 2 sessions below, and just to give people a taste of what they would experience in the in the full process of committing and being open to bringing forth your essence, the true essence of who you are to the world. Because, oh my gosh, and you know this, Annie, you know this from being a New York lawyer, and you know this from your background, the different ways that we created a skill to fit in.
Yes.
We created masks and we created layers that all of a sudden you wake up someday and you go, this isn't me. This isn't, why am I not vibrating with the success? Why am I not vibrating with this corporate world that is providing me all these beautiful opportunities to travel all over the world? I mean, it was like, wait a minute, something is off. And I
Yes.
always say, when you know something is off, that is your soul calling you to come into the depth of this beautiful essence of creator, source, self, energy, the essence of who you are. And so a lot of the work in the inner leader movement is removing all the layers, removing all the masks, getting out of the stories that you've been told or taught about who you were or what you should do. And we have been programmed on output most
Yes.
of our life. We have not been given the input. I always used to say in my corporate trainings, how many of you were ever taught patience? You know, and they're like, patience. Oh, I'm like, because that is a heart and soul virtue, is allowing that creativeness to percolate, to the messages to come through, your intuition to rise up. And I was falling on deaf ears then, because they're like, oh, we need to get to point B here. But I planted the seeds in corporate for the essence of source, and then moved those out into coming into the movement. And it was interesting because the movement was downloaded to me in 2017. My team and my coach, who was highly intuitive, and she never gave me a marketing plan. She never gave me a new business plan. All she did was get me closer to my source self. She's like, oh, honey, you got some stuff we need to remove here before you can authentically authentically guide others through this process. So to your point, Annie, it is true. My evolution is really the essence of this teaching. And because I can't, it doesn't come from a book. I mean, yeah, I have tons of resources I use as references to activate the higher dimensional energies and the source self. That's all. It's not a learning as much as it is an evolving now into your source self. So that's been key. And if I didn't experience that, if I didn't go into a fetal position and cry for 3 days because there was still a big huge hole in my heart from some betrayals and from some really um, painful situations in my life that I didn't fully, I call it heal and seal. The scars are there, but they don't leak any longer. They're no longer leaking into your energy field to where you are constantly being reminded of these painful situations. So yeah, I had to go into real deep um, exploration, and I give those examples to my clients all the time. I'm like, go go to your room and cry, scream, and punch a pillow and deal with the shadow side. It may be as simple as that, or it could be more expansive than that too, as we explore how to work with the shadow side as much as the light, to reveal the essence of who you are, that beautiful. I just constantly see in every single person I work with the beauty of when they came into the world, that pure light as they were presented from the mother's womb, that pure essence of soul light. And then it starts immediately with the conditioning, we're crying out for that. Where am I? Here I am. And then we get told, we start to get conditioned immediately.
Yes.
So it's bringing us back to that birthing process.
Yeah, yes, it is. The deep dive that we're all using the same language and coming at it in a lot of the same ways and some different terminology. But the deep dive that Akushi and I have been doing, and that's how we met 4 months ago. 4 months ago, I can't believe it was only 4 months ago, is doing the same thing, taking you back through cycles of the imprinting, and it's broken into like 3 different stages, from actually beginning with gestation, starting at the point of conception, and then just the 9 months or so of gestation, and then the first 7 years of your life, the next 7, and the next 7, as your physical body, mental body, emotional body, and even spiritual body are imprinted with these imprints that limit your view of the world and who you are. So we're really talking the same language. And so then your life, if you're conscious, and many of us, it takes a lot to get to that point where we're willing to do that, then it's about unlearning all of that so that we can be that light that we were born to be.
Yeah.
And the word that was coming, I really have enjoyed listening to you, because the word that was coming as I was listening to how you work is just liberation, freedom. And there is no, I'm speaking now of my own experience, there is no joy greater to me personally than realizing, one, that I am enough. I am enough. And it's just getting to that point of letting her out, and giving her the freedom to be herself. So for me, I mean, I would have been a piece of work for you 20 years ago. But, it's just been all those insecurities and, that just put a veil, they cover up your light, and keep you moving in that outer world, feeling as if you have to, this is my story, prove yourself out there.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine, this is what I wanted to say, imagine what it would be like and will be like someday we have so many conscious educators. You know, we're all doing the same thing. We all have our own specific and unique talents to bring to the process, but we're really, those of us who are awake and love the concept of human evolution, we're all doing the same things. And, you know, and we're trying to co-create this new harmonious world where people can be themselves and learn who that is and get the support they need to bring that out, because we each have a unique genius, you know,
Yes.
to bring to the world, you know.
Yeah.
And so imagine what it will be like in whatever future generation when people don't have to spend the first 30, 40, 50 or longer years of their lives unlearning, unlearning, and can just start from ground zero and then create something that we probably can't even imagine what
Yeah.
it would look like.
And where I find the greatest hope, I have so many younger generation clients coming to me for intuitive readings. So like early 20s, in my full moon circles that I do, I have teenagers showing up,
Really.
freshman, sophomore in high school, wanting to know how to get more connected. So this connectiveness to the amazing energy of being here on this magnificent planet, and also realizing that you're a nature spirit. We're part of the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, everything. We are, this vehicle is a natural spirit. And really, there's so many different aspects to get connected and to
Yes.
get keyed in for the youth. You know, for the youth that I'm seeing, they love coming to the full moon circles to listen to the astrological reports on what's happening with the other planets and what's happening on Earth, and what can they do under the full moon to illuminate who they are. And I call that angel astrology. That's something that Annie, I mean, and Akusi knows this. I was not, I think it happened when Akusi was here. We went out to the Serenity Bluff, and we were talking about how the Earth planet was affected by the other energies of the planet, and they were saying, well, you need to do astrology. And I said, I'm not an astrologer. This is a conversation with my angels. And they said, yes, you are. When you were a little girl, did you not know every single constellation in the sky? Did you not study every planet and how they rotated and what retrogrades meant? You are an astrologer, nature spirit. Bring that forth for people to get connected to that universal energy of the planets. So it just keeps evolving into all of these other aspects of the inner leader. And I have hope that the younger generation is now coming forth, just because I always say to them when we're doing intuitive readings, this is marvelous, because you don't have to do the 30 to 40 year work I did to unlearn what I had programmed myself to fit in. Now you can come, you've got just a few layers. You've got 20 years of layers. Okay. That's much more than 40 or 50, but it's hopeful, because they're seeing, boy, there's more to this than the system that I'm being asked to change, to be the change agent. So that's pretty exciting when we get into the individual work. But yeah, I agree. We are all doing this in different way. We're all doing it in the connective way. We're all, but in different modalities and different ways that people can connect to. And I always just say to my clients, I coach a lot of women who are starting their own spiritual businesses, or just their own consulting through what their gifts are. And I always say to them, the clients will always show up. The clients will always show up when you're vibrating that frequency and you're bringing forth your message to the world. That's the ripple effect, you know. And it's different than the old traditional ways of how we are putting our messages out there. We're going to create, you ladies are creating a new forum for those messages to be put out into the world. Spiritual Cafe, it's brilliant, because it is bringing forth people that are doing magnificent work in this world and rippling that out into into the energetic fields to raise the vibration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for acknowledging that, Lisa. And I just wanted to come in on the on your conversation here about we are sharing the message, you know, and using different modalities. And what I was hearing from spirit or from the light in the conversation is that it's interesting that although all these people are coming together, you know, we've had guests in the cafe, and you're giving this message through of light, of the transcendence, of the ways that from inside out. um, it's interesting that as people come in and talk about their way, they are using the same language, you know, diving deeper, inside out, going within, finding our authenticity. And the fact that, and that's the thing is that we really, there is no, yeah, we are moving out of competition and it is into cooperation, because if you think the planet is full and full of millions and billions and billions of people of all ages on this journey of letting go of the old ways that don't serve, for the older generation, myself, and the newer generation who are coming in with this information, then it's good that there are so many of us using and talking about this and talking about the messages that are coming through in our own expression, because we've got so many people that are coming to us and so much that we're clearing up from the past, from the ancestry behind us. We're doing so much wonderful work and what really excites me is the language of light, the deep diving, the changing from inside out, the changing the DNA, looking at our uniqueness, our geniusness, looking at the gifts we have. So the language is absolutely, where is this language coming from? All these people coming together from different walks of life, from different countries, from different ages, are coming together with this one message of we're in the awakening time, we're in the time of transformation, we're transcending. So this work that you are doing, and you do it and explain it and enunciate it, the two of you, so beautifully, this dance that is happening right now, and the people that will hear this, and even if it's it today, you know, even if they don't jump in today, the seed is in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The seed is in there. It's absolutely wonderful. And there's no, you know, there's that now, I don't even like using the word no, but it is here. There's no reason for us to hold on to this information anymore. It's just about sharing it, isn't it? And sharing it and sharing it and sharing our journey. And your journey is, you know, it's fascinating, Lisa, you know, to come from the place that you've come from. And what I've written so many, I've put my, you know, my usual notes with lots of hearts around. I just want to say, you know, Arnie came out of the blue. I love that. Out of the blue. Co-creating together. You know, it's we're all doing it. We're all in this together now. All of us are in this together now. Yeah, heal and seal. Oh, what wonderful. Heal and seal so that we're not leaking out into the energy field. It's such, you know, we're not trying to ignore what's happened. We're healing it and then sealing it and then moving on. And that's transcendence, isn't it? When we can transcend, we can't transcend until we've looked at it. And this is why these programs that you ladies do are so important, because people need to be heard and healed.
Yeah.
Need to be heard from people that have been through it, not just anybody, because we're just swirling it around. Then it needs to be from people. I've just had a flash of blue there. So, you know, the angels are here. I also wanted to say Richard Rudd, who we are studying with at the moment, says that 1 in 3 people believe in angels. 3 of us here believe in angels. Isn't that, you see, it just shows how we all come together in the same platform. 3 of us here believe, not just believe in angels, we communicate, we have angels living within us. I am enough. Those 3 simple words, I am enough. Kusi, I am enough. Everybody, I am enough.
I am enough.
I am enough. Yeah, we are enough.
More than enough.
Creative hope. How wonderful. Freedom. Everyone is pure light. When they're born, everyone is pure light. And this is what we're tapping into. We're tapping into the light within everyone. And we all have that in us. We all have that conversation within us. It's just that, we need some guidance, somebody to hold the space for us, somebody to give us the steps to unravel the chaos that we feel sometimes, to find that light, and then we can start to move forward. So yeah, absolutely wonderful.
We have an opportunity here in the United States right now with what has happening in our country to, I think what you said, Akushi, is really key, is that everyone has this light. Mm-hmm. And we have so become divided in not looking at the person as a light being and honoring that wherever their beliefs and their values come from, they still have a light. They still have a heart's intuition. And I'm looking at, I think what upsets me the most in seeing this is this divisiveness in the way that certain things keep pulling us apart instead of bringing us together. And that's why I started group mentoring sessions with small groups coming together and really sharing how they're bringing forth their light, or how they're looking at light in others that are opposed to them or have different views than them. And how can they recognize where those people are coming from that are so different, and where and what is fueling that. So it's an opportunity for us to say, if we're going to bring humanity together and work together, what is it that we have to see? And for me, I always see the light, the heartedness of the heart of what that person, and if they're not aligned with the light and the heart, I'm like, wow, imagine their journey of how they got pulled into the system, or got told or taught this is the way that is supposed to be, and honoring that gosh, there were so many different systems that reinforced who this person is portraying to be at this time. But the essence of them is there.
I watched a YouTube. I just happened to be scrolling down as we do, and one that came up, and I only watched it for a couple of minutes, but it really caught my heart, because it was a prison and they were doing restorative work, and it was a case of, and they were, they got that, some of them were in there for life sentences for, really violent, aggressive crimes and murder. And I saw, they stood in a circle, and there was a woman, and she stood in there, and they said, and she said, anyone whose parents hit them, step. Anyone who felt abused, step. And these, big, hardened men in these, I don't know, they call corrective centers in America, and these men stepped, and they said, anybody who's been abused, step. Anybody who's been raped, step in. And these men stepped in, and they became softer and more humble. All the men eventually stepped in, and after they were saying that, when they looked at, they aren't allowed to show this humility in these places, and they were able to, and it was so healing for them because they realized that actually it wasn't their fault. even that, isn't their fault, because they hadn't known any love, some of them, from the parents, and then they had to, grow up. Arnie, you must have come, it was part of your work to be, understanding that environment. It's such, and I thought, it's wonderful. There's so much upheaval happening in America, as there is everywhere in the world, in a way that, it's being flagged up, the injustice. And at the same time, it is the country of justice. So we've got these two energies, this piercing of the veil at the moment. And, I feel, that there's something really beautiful on the horizon here, even though right now it's very uncomfortable and very frightening for many.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that video too, because she is very, very powerful. And I can't remember the woman's name, but yet it was very, very revealing. And I think that's what the work of all three of us, we get to the core of who people are, and we help them heal, we help them seal, we help them release, we help them receive. Right now in this receiving mode, we're not used to receiving. We're used to giving and being on output, the nurture, the caregiver, the overtake, to produce, to be on output, and to come into a receiving mode, teaching people meditation, to still points. It's like I say to people, I meditate while I wash my dishes. What are you talking about? Like, that's how easy it is just to tune in and listen as the water's flowing, and as you give gratitude for having water to wash the dishes that have food on my plate. So you start activating these feelings of like appreciation and gratitude, and then the messages start coming in. And so it's just really creating those different ways that we can get connected with our source self, because the infinite, I call it source self, the infinite self, that's the truest layer of who we are, and nothing can harm or block infinite. Nothing. When there isn't, I always tell people, there isn't one path. There's so many different ways that we can come forth with our infinite self, and it just may not meet human expectations or the system that we're in right now, but it is that full source self is so full of compassion and grace. And it's interesting, and I think, Annie, you brought this up about the vibration, or the the language, or maybe it was Akushi, the language that we're using, or the light language that we're using, or the terms that we're using that bring us together as a collective. And the one thing that started about 2.5 years ago is that the angels were down, and my team was downloading to me, throw away the dictionary, because those terms are no longer applied. There is a new frequency and vibration that are coming forth with the heart quality words. What they've been working with me recently is with compassion. So compassion going beyond a feeling in the heart into an active energy.
Yes.
Of what we are, of what we are putting out there. It is an energetic light frequency now, instead of just saying, because some people can't feel compassion. That's the thing about when I'm working with heart math and using it as a tool. Some people, when you say activate a feeling of a love, care, and appreciation, they're so broken, or they're not broken. They feel that they are broken, and so broken that they can't even activate those feelings within their heart. And
yes, because they don't feel that way about themselves, so
No.
they can't feel that way about another human being. I just want to interject here. This is beautiful. I love the conversation you guys just had. I used to work in women's prisons. I mean, I literally would go into women's prisons and do groups. I did that in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, when I lived in Hampton Bay, and teamed up with a progressive woman who had all of the clinical psychology background, and she was a feminist. And so she just wanted to get in there because she knew, Akushi, like you just said, that all of those women in the prisons that she was working with, the non-violent offenders, had been violated in some way. So she knew that if we could, so this was my first act as a recovering lawyer when I left law because it was too toxic in California, going back to grad school. And I'd go in with her to bring these women out, and we would put them in beautiful forms of halfway houses. They weren't institutional at all, where we taught them and had an entire team teaching life skills, meditation. I was the meditation and self-esteem teacher because that was the early on me teaching what I was learning and had learned in myself. But just to treat people with love and compassion, to be able to overlook what they've done, because you can stop there and judge the person, and then they can never be redeemed in your eyes because of the judgments that you have towards yourself that you're now projecting onto them. And that's why correction institutions don't work, bottom line. But we did this program for 2 years and there was zero recidivism. These women were able to heal. It was a combination of love, compassion, and teaching people the life skills that they had never learned. So just imagine, again, going back to it, now we take your program, and I'm talking about yours, Lisa, and then put that in there with heart coherence and with connecting people to their, I call it higher self. Just imagine what's possible. So, I mean, all of us with these skills, we're working with people, most of us, that now that want this. And sometimes we're teaching the teachers as well, you know, but these concepts have not yet made it out fully into the world in all these settings, not just prisons, but middle school education. Schools, right? Where you could begin to teach people who they really are and what they're doing here, or at least an alternative view.
Yeah, I can't believe we just synchronized that school. We both went to the school system, you know, with the kids and what they have been told. When I taught fourth grade, I started out as a fourth grade teacher. And this is going to tell how old I am, but those little magic slates that you could lift the film, you could write on them with a pen and you lift them and the words disappeared. And I used to give the kids that by the time they were 9 years old, oh my gosh, they had such a story they were carrying about who they were. And I said, write down everything you were told or taught that you can't do, or that you failed at. And they write it down, and we looked up and said, it's no longer applicable. You can be whoever you want to in here, except that you do have to follow these rules. I mean, I was very strict and disciplined because it was important to teach children boundaries, but it was also important to teach them who they were. And that wasn't in a textbook. And I was shared with one of the women's group. I facilitate a lot of small collectives in the interleader movement. And I was sharing the other day that, you know, it was it was the part of coming. I get all emotional when I think about children, especially because of what they believed of who they were at such a young age. And I forgot what I was going to say about.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was one of those children. I was dyslexic child, so I believed that I was stupid, you know, because I could not read. Of course, I could read, but I couldn't read in the way that it was, you know, formatted at school. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I had a lot of undoing to do, and the trauma. You know, when I'm reading. For me, I'm just reading for the joy of the fact that I can read out loud now. You know, it's purely selfish, but it's not purely selfish because it's a selfishness.
Oh, I remember my thought. I was just going to say that I remember being in front of the school board more than I was in teachers' meetings, because I was always breaking through the traditional norms of how kids learned. I mean, they would say, "What do you have your kids outside for?" Because I want them to sit on the earth and feel the earth and feel relaxed with the earth. And they were like, that's recess. You know, so like, it's like breaking through these norms, breaking through the structures that we have been told or taught to get connected with who we are. And that's just one example of many of how we can work with the kids too. So, oh, this is, I'm like, I'm like all excited now because I've got all these different
I'm
ideas
excited
now.
too.
I'm like going,
Well, I hope you'll consider, Lisa, putting together some thoughts of a program, the inner leader movement for children. Okay,
oh,
just, I mean, seriously, just play with that, and maybe I'll make sure you have my contact information, and
yeah.
maybe we see what that might look like. I think that would be fun.
Well, you know, and I think it starts with I do tutoring on the side of children. I live right across the street from a middle school, so I do some tutoring for some families that know that I was a former teacher. And the first thing I teach the kids is heart math, is
Okay.
getting coherent with
Okay.
themselves. And I said, before we even go into the math thing or the reading thing or whatever you're doing, let's get connected to yourself. So we go through the entire getting connected. I hook them up to the little biofeedback, the inner balance, and they get to see when they slow up and they start breathing, how they get coherent. And then we talk about emotions. And so the tutoring that I do for academia for kids, it doesn't even start there. It starts with getting them connected to their heart
Beautiful.
and being strong and confident that it's okay that they're different. It's okay that they fell behind in their academia because there was something else. There was something else that was getting in their way. It wasn't any lack of intelligence or intellect by any means. It was a story that they got told about themselves. So you just sparked an idea, though, that perhaps it's time to take this to a wider perspective than just my individual tutoring.
I
And
like it.
yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So let's
Even
stay
parents
connected.
too. Parents, teachers, I mean, teachers in schools, and then parents with their own children. I mean, how cool would it be to find a mother that wanted to open her own heart and could do this with her children? They could do this together. I mean, there's so much potential here. This is one other beautiful, the afterglow of us coming together like this, because it sparks all this new creativity. So
Yeah, and that's what I love about the Spiritual Cafe, because I've been here before and I used to be like a really active member before I got so busy in my client work. But I love that it's not about just saying who we are and what we're doing. Right now, what we did is we're starting to co-create new ideas and new ripples to put out into the world. And I hope that everyone that's listening or tuning in today will get those little sparks. I call them little sparks of spirit that start to fuel this flame, this passionate flame and fire inside to say, wait a minute. In this pandemic time, I mean, we're still shelter in place here in California. I'm taking a big risk and going up to see my sister on Thursday, driving out of the area, but we're still being asked to stay in isolation as much as possible. So this is the perfect time to send those ripples out to people to say, what else could I do? I have heard from so many people during this pandemic that yes, it was a real big adjustment. They're not even sure they want to go back to what they were doing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
saying maybe there is more. Maybe I do need to be one person in particular, a very high corporate executive in Silicon Valley is like going, I really liked being home with my kids. I feel that I need to put something forth towards the children now and the education system. And that's what's happening. This movement of in the United States of this injustice of racism and the whole root, the systemic root of where that comes from now is going to the systemic root, hallelujah, of the education system. It's like there's injustices and no, non-funding for this stream. So there's like we're getting to the root, the systemic roots of what needs to be uprooted, and we're filling that space with this beautiful higher level of consciousness of heart, the soul's wisdom keys, the work that you're doing in the gene codes. Oh my gosh, it's fabulous. I love the work in that modality. So there's just so many ripples that we're putting out as the roots come up. We're planting the seeds,
Yes.
and everyone can do this. Every single person can just start planting a seed and putting that ripple effect out there, because anyone that's listening to this communion of beautiful, brilliant hearts and souls is going to feel something inside of them that's going to ignite. Hey, there is something more. Everybody's getting that nudge right now. What else is there? So I'm pretty
I think that's it. I think you just rapped. It's beautiful. I'll make a plug for the Ignite Your Light Coalition that I founded. That's exactly what we're talking about, igniting that light. What is it that you maybe always wanted to do or had this idea, but never had the courage to do it? Well, the time is now. And if you need help, look at all these beautiful people out there that will help guide you to that place. So it's gorgeous. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I can't wait, Annie, to take a deeper dive into what you're doing. And I will definitely do that, and we will be in contact. Kushi, I love you so much. You are an amazing, amazing connector and collaborator. You've moved us out of comparative and competition into a collective of co-creative collaboration. Thank you for the Spiritual Cafe. It is making a difference in this world.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for being part of this, part of my heart, part of my life. And Arnie, thank you for a wonderful conversation and contributing with your wisdom, your experience. I would just like, and thank you to everybody who's listening now and in the future. We will put in the post. I just want to mention your flyer. This is Transcending Your Inner Leader with Lisa A. Clayton, and there's a lovely flyer here and all the things that she does. I'm not going to. She said all the things that she does really, but one of the things that really caught my eye is the old way of living is never coming back, and the more we try to do so. The old way of living is never coming back. And the more we try to do so, the more challenges arise. And we can all agree the old way has many toxic layers. And so now we're going to move into the new ways. And I will post this flyer with the post of this cafe. So thank you everybody that's come. There's lots of juicy bits we're going to post. Ignite Your Light is something that we're all going to work with. It's just limitless and endless. The more I do this work, the more that it just keeps on giving and growing, and it doesn't, no matter what, like you say, where anybody is in their space right now, whether there's a small flickering light that's waiting to grow, or a huge light that's bursting to get out there and come here and do something, all is great. We're all coming together in our light. And so I just wondered if you want to do a little heart meditation, our blessing, 2-minute blessing, to see us out. And thank you. Is there anything before I go? Is there anything you want to say, Arnie, before we?
Oh no, I'm good. It was beautiful. Thank you very much, Lisa. I love you. Love you both. Seriously, I love you both. Love your energy, and we're going to continue to do great things together.
Yes.
And with anybody else out there that's listening, Akushi invites people onto this show, and one of the final things I'll say is this, because I was on it about a month ago. It's very empowering. It's very empowering. So it will help you if you have an idea and the idea is developed, but you haven't had a place yet or large enough venue to really own that, live it and be it. Come on the show, contact Akushi or contact me, because we're filling the slots as we speak.
We are. And I just want to ask you ladies, because one of the things that some people say to me is, that are a little bit nervous to come in and speak at first, but it flies, doesn't it? And we look after you. You know, you're just talking to us, so it's an empowering experience. Anyway,
Okay.
here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just get centered on the area around our hearts and bring that beautiful breath of life into that core of your heart, that heart sacred space. Just nice deep breath in and then slowly out. And let's just feel that appreciation, gratitude, love for this time, this rare time of coming together, a one and only time of coming together to activate the higher heart consciousness, the soul's wisdom, the beautiful light from within, the essence of who you are, to bring forth in the world in every breath that you take, in every step that you take, in every action that you take makes a difference. So just feel that love, care, appreciation, and gratitude for the beautiful essence of yourself. And know that by just being here, you're making a difference. And we just want to thank our divine teams, our angels, for blessing us with their beautiful light, their love today in the spiritual cafe, for Kushi, for Annie, for the work that they do individually, collectively. And so it is.
It is, so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, ladies. Look forward.